Ted, there's so many questions. Health savings accounts been a part of this whole movement. And then you got tax credits and things that I don't understand. Tell us the questions that should be asked by a small business person to you.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things going into this year is, will my small business qualify for tax credits? And amazing, unless you have a really good accountant and you put together a really good Excel spreadsheet, most business owners don't know. So businesses that are under 10, if they're under 10 people and the average salary of your employees is less than $25,000, you may be eligible for a tax credit. And that could be potentially up to 50%. Now they've been wavering in this 35 to 50% tax credit.
A tax credit on the health plan, okay?
Absolutely. So it's one thing to look at is, if I'm under 10 people, do I qualify for this tax credit? Some business owners don't have an accountant that asks them, and they don't ask their accountant, so it never even comes up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
Well, certainly there's a big issue now that one of the tax law changes that happened this year is some businesses have set up something called a flexible spending account.
Okay.
And those were accounts where people could put away pre-tax dollars and ultimately use them on a use or lose basis for things like medical expenses and dependent care. Well, that limit went down to $2,500 this year. So that's a potential sort of tax loss for employees that work for a company that put money away for medical expenses. The bigger one we can talk about here is what's happened in the last decade, which is this proliferation of health savings accounts, which right now, Fran, 24% of all small businesses have a health savings account.
Really?
Like 1/4 of all small businesses in America, over 22 million people are enrolled in health savings accounts. One of the questions is, will it even be here when Obamacare, hits us?
And what do you say?
Well, I think unless, if you have a plan that you put into place, and by March, I think it's 23rd of 2010, you can continue that plan and it will qualify to meet the Obamacare standards. And so my sense is, if that had a higher deductible plan, then certainly you'll be able to contribute and continue that plan. If not, I don't really know where that's going to head. Certainly, I don't think we're going to see participation rates of 24%. The scary thing, Ted was mentioning tax credits a moment ago. They're talking about giving you a tax credit if you have less than 25 employees, as long as they don't make more than $50,000. Yeah. Well, what's happening today are businesses are already saying, we want to get below that 50 employee threshold that's been all over the news and people are concerned about, and I'm going to hire more part-time employees. Well, they're actually going to add up all the hours that people, that's not going to get you out of the game. Maybe not. Because they're going to add up all the hours that those people work, how many full-time people would be there. And so if you were trying to get below it and you said, well, I'm just going to have 100 part-time or 120 part-time employees, you still may meet that threshold and still have to provide the care.
Yeah, so one of the things to know is that there may be some tax credits available to you, and I wouldn't expect, even if you use an accountant, that your accountant's going to come to you and say, hey, Mr. Small Business Owner, you should take advantage of this tax credit. It's likely you, as usual, that has to bring the advice to your accountant, and then they'll tell you yay or nay. If you have a business that's lower than 10 people, less than 10 employees, 10 and less, you might be able to get a tax credit. If the average salary in your companies is less than $25,000, you could be eligible for a tax credit. It could potentially be up to half of what you pay out. So that's a particular thing that I would look at before the end of the year.
And certainly one of the things that they're talking about implementing in 2014 will be a tax credit for employers who have less than 25 employees who make less than, whose average is less than 50,000. And certainly there could be tax credits up to 35, all the way up to 50% of that premium as well.